The Lawn Locker with Attitude, Part 2. And this is Kevin, Kung Fu Kangaroo. Whereas this is the Lawn Locker, which I'm terribly sorry, but I didn't get finished describing during the first movie. So therefore, let's start clip 2. Now, as I recall it, even though I've had yet another beer since I finished the last clip, we were talking about the children's chainsaw milled desks. Yeah? Okay, so let's work back from the children's desks. That's an El Cheapo electric mixer. Here we have a crucible my father made out of stainless steel with raw iron welded to it, a fire extinguisher, a dynamic toy I got from a hang gliding friend of mine many years ago. Down here now, this actually is reasonably interesting. This is a piece of iron wood which has sapwood that's white that stays connected. So when I was making a walking stick, I carved a snake into one side and a lizard into the other side, and the snake and the lizard are fighting with each other around the walking stick. Now, I also, excusez-moi, spliced a piece of leopard wood. So you've got iron bark into leopard wood, and then the leopard wood is spliced into the iron wood. But sadly, if you have a look at a movie I made for a bloke called Adam Shumpus XXX, the movie is called It Is Better to Be Selfless, you'll see how I came to break this hand-carved walking stick when I had a home invasion. But anyway, this is a asymmetric elliptical wrist radio dating from the 1970s, which was given to me for Christmas, I think, 1972, 73. There we have a horseshoe that has been turned into a wool bale hook or handle. We have, oh yeah, that's actually for balancing boomerang blades. You know, I have some very strange stuff. Some high temperature thermal wire. That is a permanent magnet out of a Model T Ford's low temperature ignition magneto. You don't see them very often. That's another magnet, and that one's out of a loudspeaker. Head torch. And here's where overcoats get stored, and sports coats, and towels. Just wait and I'll get you a bit more right. There we go. Now, up here is where the mad scientist keeps his collection of synthetic glues, in front of a Galileo thermometer and some wood carving tools, and behind the wood carving tools we actually have a picture of Warbles Onalot's grandfather learning to fly in a Curtis Jenny in 1917 at William Stutz School of Aviation at Williamstown in Sydney. Isn't that exotic? Don't often see that. And a coffee grinder. Here we have spare money containers made by my infant daughter, which I'm still using. Cigarette lighters, a bushfire danger slide rule, and behind that and behind the cigarette lighters there's a kerosene powered railway torch with a reflector and a magnifying lens and handles for carrying it with, as well as the first mobile phone I bought my kid, which I inherited, and then the kid got more phones, and then that died, and I bought a phone, and then that died. So I've got 2 mobile phones there, living in state, lying in state. Kerosene lamp from before the days I got solar powered electricity. This is a gem. This is a 240 volt electric power point timer that has analog technology inside of it. My father had it in the 1970s when he wanted to go to Hong Kong and turn the lights on every night. Trouble is, when my parents left to go on holidays, they always used to turn the power off in case of a lightning strike. So first he bought this thing at great cost and expense, and then he set it up, and then he went away for his holidays having switched the power off to the house. So this thing was pretty much an ornament. You can buy them in a hardware store for about $7, but I think he paid nearly a week's wages for that. Snicker, snicker, snark. That is a capuchin sundial made on a piece of balsa wood. A drawing by my daughter, showing how what she really wanted was a house with a vase and flowers on top of a table as a kid. Canada John, my old mate who conducted a kamikaze attack on a sheep because he was a very serious greenie. That's pretty exotic. It's a picture of a speedboat in a dam in front of a house in Emerville where it's landlocked. And that's a very, very weird abstract painting that I once paid, I think, $150 for. And this is the photograph of it. I won't tell you the story behind that because I know it. And in that plastic bag is my new hat given to me by my mother, because she's hoping that I will start to wear my second best hat, which is only 20 years old. Paul Keating was Prime Minister when we had that reconciliation "It's Up to Us" campaign. But I'm actually really kind of comfortable with the hat that I wear. So I'm still using that one at the moment. And then, I don't know what's going to happen to the light when I do this. Then we have the inside of the door. Now, when the home invader came through these doors, he kind of made a mess of it, and the door that's on the right hand side, it doesn't open anymore. But we have, running from side to side of the door, of course, I'm sure you recognise this, it's an Escher ink drawing, which a bloke gave to me before I discovered that he was not a nice person. But the drawing's pretty good, so I leave it there. And here we have rainfall results going back, I don't know, they probably go back about 18 years, but I haven't actually been bothering to transcribe them for a while. There's a calendar which has, you know, my YouTube monitoring, which has pretty much taken over my life these days. The darling daughter child, getting younger and younger and younger. The son, as he gets older, and he hates having his photo taken. This is an original oil painting. I paid about, I don't know, I think I paid as much for this as I paid for Matthew's knife when I was busking at Tamworth at the Country Music Festival, and I was doing greeny forest poetry, and I was getting $180 a day. Rednecks like to be told it. Go and get whatever, if it rhymes. That's the sundial that's out in the front yard, fallen over with old age. That's a capuchin sundial, and that's a cubic sundial. Over here we have battery charge state. We have specific gravity up the side, and we have battery voltage down the bottom, because I do in fact get pretty obsessive about my battery charge states. We have a photograph of a wild koala in a tree that I pay rates on the land the tree lives on, so that's like my token wild koala. I don't know many people who've got a koala that's come to visit. That's the 8-foot 5 horsepower wind turbine rudder that I made in 1986. There we have old mate's Dragonfly tug prototype for pulling hang gliders into the sky, and there on the wingtip is the Mark 10 scale model of a ducted Thrustrum Venturi wind turbine. There we have the turbulence test rig flying pretty good wind. We have the Tower of Power with no panels on it, and we have the original Tower of Power with 2 panels. Time when I started making hand-carved wooden pipes. Time when I was selling gayandis, bull roarers disguised as painted hand-carved fish. Fire Crew Tasmania badge that was given to me by a bloke who was up here for the Section 44 fires in about 2002. Mark 5, 4B wind turbine. Back in the days when I spent years trying to make electricity spin out of a motor car alternator with a hand-carved rotor. And there's the bicycle wheel wind turbine that provided months of entertainment. My first aeroplane hanging in the Transport Museum at Inverell, about 48 miles west of here. Photos of the Mark 1 Sunfoil under construction. And yeah, up there you've got help in marijuana prohibition. You've got, I think that was a commercial cup. That's a very good torch. Presents from the kids. Presents from a friendly local potter who's currently got the shits with me. There we go. That was my Milo cup when I was a kid, and that's a lemonade bottle that still has its glass marble to seal it. That's a magic spell enhancer called a gayandi or a bull roarer, and that is a magic wand. It's been polished by the leaves of the branch next door to it after that wand died in a drought. And after being polished, it fell to the ground, and I was able to collect it and use it in a test. And yeah, it works pretty well. That is a scribing block which my father made. He started off with bare metal and he filed that and he made the whole bloody thing. There we have a heap of books. This is the kitchen table, by the way. 2 kerosene lamps, a couple of old books of poetry, the logbook for the generator in the pyramid, 3,780 hours and 5 minutes. Have food, you have drills under the biscuits, we have a plant meter and a multimeter. Under more biscuits we have various kinds of tea. We have a honey locust sundial that's got to be repaired and returned to the hippie commune. We have 3 torches together. That's a pretty good bloody joke. That's the floor plan for the house that I never ever got around to building. Isn't that funny? A clock and a barometer, and that's it inside the hut. I'm pretty sure that's everything.